Time now to take a look at the #1 player in the world, his golf swing. He's got some interesting things he does in his golf swing, some sort of old school things he does in his golf swing, and some things that are, I would say, kind of unique to him. The club face opens up quite a bit on the way back, but when he gets to the top, the things I really want to highlight, and I particularly love, is just how upright his golf swing is. Now, a lot of things I love about an upright golf swing. One, it's a way to increase power. You know, you've got a sort of a little longer arm swing, right? You're more upright. You can do a lot of different things in transition. Also, I think it's more versatile. Allows you to work shots more right to left, left to right. But clearly, when you're this upright, you need to do some things to shallow out the club so that you can turn and burn. Now, there are a number of things that Scottie Scheffler does to shallow out the club that are kind of different from really what's in vogue in the golf world today. The vogue world is sort of a strong grip, sort of a bowed left wrist, a shut face, and then this sort of upper-lower body compressing, right? Getting down into the ground, right? You get down into the ground. From the top up here, you get down into the ground. That will shallow out the club. Another way to shallow out the club, the way Jack Nicklaus did it, the way Tom Watson did it, the way so many great players have done it, is through something called early extension. Early extension kind of has a bad name. Don't really know why. It's not in vogue, but it's certainly a way of shallowing out the club. What I mean by early extension is his body begins to move away from the ball and up in transition. Most players today, whether a strong grip, shut face, or rotating, they're moving down in transition. They're moving up through the ball. But as you will see, as we move this, his head's going to move back, it's going to move a little bit up, and he's going to begin to sort of stand up. Now, this is going to have the effect of shallowing the club out as we get down here. And look, boom, by the time we get right here, okay, as a matter of fact, you're going to look, as we get right here, look, I mean, you might say he's even more shallow, right? You know, the butt end of the club's pointing to a place out in front of the ball. So clearly he's done what he needs to do. And actually, at this point, he needs to steepen the shaft to get back on plane. But the cool thing is he's standing up, right? And he's put pressure into the ground at the same time. So he's standing up but still put pressure in the ground. But one of the reasons why his feet fly all over the place through impact is because he's moving that left hip. If players that have really good foot action, they move that left hip up over even with the foot, right? They have more lateral slide and rotation and extension so that then when they get to the left side, right, they're perfectly in balance. But if this hip carriage right here doesn't get up to over the foot, if you're rotating so fast, right, and extending, when you finish, well, all of this is still spinning, your feet are going to come off of the ground, okay? And if you keep your shoulders closed, as he does, because look at this. Look how his shoulders are closed. Look how his hips are open, okay? You gotta be an athlete to do that, but I mean, that's great stuff. So if you keep your shoulders closed while you're extending and rotating your hips, and your hips didn't get up to your left foot, all right? Your right foot may well drag back, a la Greg Norman, a la Mark Calcavecchia. So that's what we're gonna see. This foot is going to be dragging back. Now, part of the reason of that is because he's keeping these shoulders closed for the most part as he's rotating his hips. So we'll take a look at this, planed out beautifully. He's got to steepen that shaft a little bit, so he's putting more pressure on the grip with his right hand. You see that right there. It's just beautiful. But if we take a look here, I mean, you can see, look where his forearms are pointing. I mean, he likes to hit a lot of fade, right? He likes to hit a lot of fade. Most people would say, well, your forearms need to be more even there if you're going to hit a lot of fades. But he's clearing so hard. I mean, yes, the shoulders have opened up, but he's hitting the inside part of the golf ball. And again, this footwork, pay a lot of attention to that these days. It's more common these days because everybody seems to be elevating, rotating, extending with so much power that it completely gets their feet flying all over the place. Up on the toe, you can see the left foot is banked over because he's got pressure going to the outside. That's because his hip has rotated. Remember, it didn't get up over the left foot, so it's rotated, it's moving back. So we'll take a look at this. I mean, this is as pure as a golf ball could be struck. In 2023, he led in strokes gained off of the tee. He led in strokes gained approach. He is the first person who ever do that on the PGA Tour. So in spite of the fact that it looks a little different, maybe even looks a little sloppy, nothing sloppy about that impact. So I've talked about his footwork. It is worth going back to just take a look. Let's go back to say 50 years and maybe even close to 100 years and see some of the greats of the game who had similar footwork because they were moving in much the same way. This is Gene Sarazen, one of the 5 players that won the career Grand Slam. Wasn't a big guy. I mean, I think he was around 5'5", 5'6", something like that. You can see his feet are moving all over the place. His left foot splays out all the way through there. His right foot tips over at the top. I mean, he's just giving it everything he's got right here. Strong grip, throwing his right hand at it. So that's one of the greats of all time. We'll fast forward to 1973. Who could forget this? Look at this. I mean, this is him in full bloom. Beautiful, beautiful stance right there. I mean, absolutely. But just look at how quickly he clears that left hip. And the fact that his left foot comes off the ground and flies is evidence that this left hip carriage didn't get over his left leg. This is kind of the way Jack Nicklaus's did. Jack Nicklaus had a little bit more lateral slide, got it over the left leg, so Jack would finish perfectly in balance with just the inside of his left heel off the ground. But because Johnny Miller was swinging as hard as he could, and remember, Johnny used to say he wanted to be the longest driver on the PGA Tour and the shortest iron player. He cared more about precision. So yeah, his feet kind of moved around a little bit when he hit his irons, but not like this. When he was hitting the wood and giving it his all out, I mean, that left hip is flying around behind him. It's a beautiful athletic move. You hear all these words thrown around about being efficient and being stable. Great athletes, they're moving. I'm not a huge fan of when I hear people trying to say, oh, this footwork looks more stable. Like, no, great athletes are moving around. Bubba Watson, they can be a little bit sloppy when they do it. Tiger Woods certainly had that. So we can learn a lot from the legends 100 years ago, 50 years ago, and we can certainly learn a lot from Scottie Scheffler's golf swing. For more content like this, subscribe to our Golf Channel YouTube page below, and don't forget, you can catch all of our podcasts on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.